Welcome back, everyone. NicknLex here. Thank you so much for joining me today to this new episode. This is a special one. This is a tribute by BMAC for his parents. So I'm honored, honestly, to be able to do this. That he chose me to do this. So it's really, it's a humbling experience. Thank you so much. And I'll read some notes that BMAC left me in his email. And then also something very exciting. I'm not going to use any YouTube or Spotify today. I'm going to use, the rips, the rip files that he sent me. So if you want to do that, if there's something that doesn't exist on YouTube or Spotify or your own music, we can always, do that as well. So I'm going to read as much as I can without revealing, personal information. But it is, I think it is very important to know that this is for BMAC's parents. And I will mention their names. This is dedicated for Helen and Mac. May they rest in peace, of course. And there's some information that is obviously for me, about their passing and that he misses them both dearly, which is obviously very, very understandable. And but I'm going to read some information here that BMAC provided me with. It says here, when I was a kid, there was always music in the house. That's wonderful. It's literally my life. We all had little portable record players. My dad had a buddy that had a bar, and he'd rotate out his 45s from his jukebox and sell them to my dad for pennies. Wow, what crazy times. We'd all play them. We never knew if they were hits, but we just play them and have fun. That sounds amazing. Like, what a great, activity to do. Definitely not teeny booper stuff. Usually Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Bobby Darin, that sort of thing. Anyway, when I was about 10 or 11 or so, my dad started getting these Time Life record sets, 5 albums each, and a bound hardcover book. He'd get one sent automatically every 4 months or so. So if you remember that, let us know in the comment section, Recreations of big band sing era music from the 30s and 40s. These were recreations recorded in stereo. Like this. Oh boy. She always just calls me, I love it. But yeah, we have some, some family in the hospital. I will call her back. I just wanted to finish this. These were recreations recorded in stereo and modern recording studios at the time, painstakingly performed to sound like the popular versions of songs played by certain big bands like Benny Goodman, Glen Miller, Woody Herman, Tom Z. Dorsey, etc. The recordings were of either Billy May's orchestra or Glen Gray's orchestra. Per your marathon, let's see. So here's about the time and all this stuff. And yeah, it's super cool because I do use VLC player, of course. I mean, what else? What else would I be using? I've been using that for like 10 years. And these are the songs. So we're going to do Bugle Call Rag by Benny Goodman in 1936. This is the Benny Goodman version, Bill May Orchestra. Blues on Parade, Woody Herman version, 1939, Glen Gray Orchestra. Swinging the Blues, Count Basie version, 1941, the Glen Gray Orchestra. Temptation by Artie Shaw version, 1940, Billy May Orchestra. And Opus One, Tommy Dorsey version, 1943, Glen Gray Orchestra. And then that's the order. And thanks. No, thanks to you, BMAC. Thank you so much for all the information and for sharing this. And like I said, for letting me do the reaction, to these. And I'm, like I said, I'm honored to be able, to, listen to this and think of your parents, and that's that's dedicated to them, this whole video. So thank you for sponsoring the marathon, and thanks everybody for watching. And please, if you can, leave some, something positive, some like words of love and kindness in the comment section if you can. All right, so I'll be right back. I have to call my wife. I'll see you in a second. All right, everything fine, everything going well. We talked about 40 minutes, so I'm back. And but yeah, we hadn't started the music, so we're gonna start it off with Bugle Call Rag from 1936. So here we go. And again, thank you so much, BMAC, for literally sending me your MP3 files. That's awesome. And because those are the ones that sound the best. So here we go with this first one. And here we go. Let's see how loud it is. Holy moly, that was amazing. So as you can see, I wanted to hear how it sounded just with because I have it usually on flat. I don't know why it was on flat. I usually put like classical, but then I put it on full bass and treble, and you could see how it changed, like I guess the flats, you could hear them a lot like higher, and I hope that sounded good. It is very loud. It's not peaking though. It's not going into the red zone, so that's good. That's when it distorts. So I think the sound is amazing. But what a song! What fun! Boom, 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 boom. That bass walk, and just so creative. And this music is just so, happy. It's so rich, and what a great time. I mean, you guys certainly grew up with the right stuff. I grew up like, it's literally, I love when you said, there was music in the household. Always. That was literally the case in my house. There was always music. We were always listening. Mostly my mom was a classical music freak, because she was a violinist, and then my grandmother was a classically trained pianist. So she would play, always the piano, mostly Chopin, and but we would listen to Bach and Beethoven and Mozart. Mozart was mostly, like, I think my mom's favorite. So yeah, so there was always music, and also other stuff, like I've talked about, Sting and Sade, and and Paul Simon, and she was just like into good stuff, like, and I remember some stuff, sometimes some reactions that I do remember, Cat Stevens and stuff like that she would listen to. My mom had great taste, and she pretty much grew up, like, I think she's in the same age range as most of the people here on the channel, or maybe even a little bit older, so but yeah, this was great. This was a great tune, man. Super fun. Bugle Call Rag, Benny Goodman, cool. But with the Billy May Orchestra, super cool. 1936. Wow, we just watched Snow White and then Pinocchio. Oh my god, I can't believe that it is so old, that those two movies. We have the reviews, but we just haven't released them, but because we haven't had time because of so many things. Family members in hospitals, 3 family members right now. So yeah, there's so much stuff going on. So, but yeah, we'll release them, when we can. Okay. This was such a fun tune. The VLC play is a little bit different how I remember it, but I mean, everything I used to do with this VLC player, I have different skins for it. The only thing I don't see is the time of the song. The timer is not there, Oh, there it is. Okay, you have to click on it. Okay. All right, so next song is Blues on Parade, and 1939. All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't really like import them, so I'll click again. So here you go. Wow, man. Okay, I don't want to interrupt, but wow. Man, it almost reminded me of like gypsy jazz, you know, boom boom, like that. You know, like Django Reinhardt, you know. But I love these little details. Da-dum, bam, ba-dum, bam. Bam, ba-dum, bam, ba-dum, bam, ba-dum, bam, ba-dum, bam, ba-dum, ba-dum. This, you know, this call and return or call and answer. So cool, so creative. I hope it's not too loud. It was peaking a little bit, you know, because when you cut these MP3s, or you know, I used to be super into this, and I would only do FLAC. You know, FLAC is literally like the CD quality, and it's super heavy. You know, like, because I think, I don't know if I'm right, but a CD could hold what, 600 megabytes or something. I don't remember exactly, but that is so like nothing nowadays, you know. Like a picture could be like 20 megabytes, you know, like a 4K picture, or like a really good, you know, picture could be, I don't know, you know. Space right now is such, I don't know, it's become very, very, I don't know, like when sometimes when I install something, you know, like a program on the computer, it's like 80 gigs, you know. It's like, okay. But then I look at something like when you rip like I don't know if you've ever seen a cartridge, you know, like an Atari or a Nintendo cartridge. It's like 2 kilobytes, and that's like a whole video game on there. It's just crazy. But I wanted to talk about, it must have been insane when this was new, you know. What did people think? Like, oh, what's good, there's so much going on, you know. So and now people listen to this and they think, oh, it's so old, you know. But they don't, maybe they don't understand. This is what I love about this channel, because it's music appreciation more than anything, you know. There's a lot of reaction channels, and the reaction is what I don't enjoy that much, because it's so over the top, you know. It's so, but there are some good ones that really know what they're talking about, and it's wonderful. But the ones with the most subscribers are the ones that literally fall out of their chair because of the music, you know. And it's, and I don't know, I don't know if that can be real, you know. Because music can be very surprising, but to the point where you fall out of your chair, I don't know. I think that's more like a show, and that's okay too, you know. If that makes you enjoy the song and the reaction, that's wonderful. But I'm sure that the people that watch our channel, they wouldn't be subscribed to us for that kind of reason, you know. So, man, this is so good, so much fun. So yeah, like, you know, swing. And I think that my first exposure to this kind of music was this it was a cassette. It was still a cassette that I bought, and it starts with "Come on everybody, come." No, and then and then it starts, and then they just add more and more. I think it's called Bunny and the Jives or something like that, but it was and then it goes into a roll over Beethoven, and then it goes like into like I don't know, it goes into like 20 different songs. And I remember buying this tape, and I bought it because I liked the bunny, you know, on the cover. And it was just like, oh, this must be something fun. And then it turned out to be like music from the 40s and 50s. And my parents was so like, they loved it. They were like, put it on again, like rewind it, you know. We played that thing maybe like 20 times a day, you know. It was because it had like, I think I should look for that on Spotify. And I think there was a video as well, a black and white video or something. But if you guys can tell me what song that is, I'd be very, very happy. Or maybe I was singing the intro, but that's not like the entire song. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I don't even know why I'm like doubting this. But okay, so so far so good. What a great sound, and what a great time. So and also thank you again, BMAC, for providing me all the background. And I'm gonna read that as well, but I can't read it right now, you know. Okay, Swinging the Blues. Was that Swinging the Blues? I don't know, but if I recognize anything, and I love that this is all instrumental. This is my music. I love instrumental music. If I recognize anything, I'll let you know. So Swinging the Blues is next from 1941. Count Basie. I wonder if they would play these, in places with high ceilings, or did they have reverb pedals? I'm sure, although I think they did in the 40s, but so sometimes with the trumpets here on this setting, it kind of like, it does saturate. So I hope, it sounds good. I really hope. I'm just following your, instructions. Because we do want to hear, the trumpets crisp and clean, or maybe it's too loud on my setting. Maybe I'm just like blasting this way too loud into my ears. And I think that, but it is kind of like, it gets into that red zone here. So I lowered the volume on this track a little bit. It was on 100. I lowered it to 92 just because I didn't want it to like distort. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Wow. Wow, that harmony part. Dum 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 ba dum dum ba me. Like all the instruments playing in there. Oh man, so good. So, what a fun time. This music is so good. And also my dad, he was like obsessed with rock and roll, like but swing. Like he wanted to get me into like big band. So this is also stuff that I would listen to a lot, just coming from his room, and at the time, I was into Metallica and I was going through my Led Zeppelin phase, and he was like, oh God. And he knew Led Zeppelin literally personally, Robert Plant and Jimmy Page and these people. He used to frequent with all these people in Munich because of his business, because of his nightclub. But he was like already out of that, like that was like 30 years ago for him. So he was into like big band and jazz, and he's like, listen, like and when I listen to the solos, I listen how well written they are. They're so creative, these solos, these improvisations. They're like it's like, wow. No wonder these these swing musicians and jazz in general had such an impact on rock and blues. The improvisation. Like even my favorite player, Alan Holdsworth. And I just read this amazing article, that why is he such a genius? And there was this awesome video by this guy that kind of like, breaks it down and why he's not like better known, but he was like a fan of, of these people, of these players, of these, the old jazz, gypsy jazz, or this big band jazz, Count Basie, and he was obviously a big fan, of John Coltrane. That is, I guess, next level. That was already fusion. Like when you analyze a track like Giant Steps, like, yeah, I've tried, to improvise over that. It's like you need a lot of theory and a lot of knowledge, and it's possible because there's people that don't know how to read music, that have not studied music, they don't know about music theory, but they can improvise. It's just a matter of time, So yeah, so I love how how impactful these players were on the players that you guys listen to, like Jeff Beck, and everybody, that were that you got that I like too now, but all these guitar players that from the 60s and 70s, they were inspired by this stuff, so yeah, so cool, so much fun. So yeah, on this track I had to turn it down a little bit because I don't want it to distort, but I think it sounds great. The bass sounds super good. The highs are a little bit high, but I guess we're supposed to listen to them like this. Okay, next one is Temptation, Artie Shaw version, 1940, Billy May Orchestra. Here we go. His harmonies. Fantastic. The music that you hear, if you pay attention, there's so much like these musicians, like it shows that they know how to, I think they know, their modes, like because these arpeggios, and there's certain like vibes to these. Like the beginning sounded very like Arabic, a little bit, Egyptian. It had some kind of like, it's the mode that they're playing in, or the scale, like you have to know your and I'm going through them all the time. I'm Locrian mode, Phrygian mode, Dorian mode. I'm looking at them right now because I was just like literally working on them. And you have to kind of like, if you know how to play those modes on any position on the neck, you're pretty much, you can improvise some really good stuff. I was gonna say a word, but like Aeolian, like Aeolian legato I was doing yesterday, just the major and minor scale, the harmonic minor, the melodic minor. There's so many good tools, to music. And yes, like I said, you can do all that without going into, oh my God, there's so much dust here now that I see it. Oh. You can do all that, without studying music, but it is a cool tool set to know these things, like it's, it's crazy because one of the best players have no knowledge of theory, and they don't need it because they have their own, they sound so, that's why they sound so like original, or the way they sound, because they just play out of, they pull that stuff out of thin air, and make it happen. So, but I mean, when I listen to these players, these are obviously trained musicians. You hear it in their, first of all, it's played flawlessly and clean, whistle clean. And there's so many nice, little details, in that are very pleasant to listen to. This like, I don't know, they just use these, especially these little arpeggios, they use, and it's not very scaly sounding, which is a good thing. When you sound scaly, when you improvise and you sound like you're only playing scales, not good. You have to mix it up with chromaticism and all that good stuff. The chromatic scale is so interesting because I love it. Okay, let's go back. This was wonderful. And also BMAC, for example, like he's a musician, so he knows what I'm talking about, when I get into this stuff. He's a bass player. And like I said, I would love to, jam with one of you guys whenever possible, you know. I mean, now with this technology, we don't even have to be in the same room. Yes, there's a little bit of a feedback, but it can be battled, you know. It can be done if you use headphones, and if you have, you know, like this, like an audio box, like an interface, you know, and you can play in real time, you know, being in different locations. So that would be kind of cool to jam, you know, with whoever wants to, of course, you know, and then record that, put it on YouTube, you know. That would be fun. All right, so let's keep going. I mean, just that solo. Listen again. Like, listen all the arpeggios he was playing, and then the harmony parts. Let's see. Dated. That part he used that da 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 da, you know, just a little piece of it. He didn't make it sound like a scale, but it was there. I mean, that last solo. Yeah, I think that was the melodic minor scale, you know, and then all those little arpeggios that are being cut, you know, they're not playing the entire sequence, you know. It's like doodle-dee-doodle, or like, I don't know, you know. It's just so rich, you know. It's such a great. They're using so much classical music to play jazz, you know. Dave Brubeck, you know, and that's one of the classically trained musician who became a jazz musician, you know. And or if you listen to Stan Getz, you know, he uses all sorts of classical. It's just there, you know, like those two. If you know how to play classical music and jazz, you can play anything. You can play anything over everything as well. Such a cool thing. Okay, this is the last one. This is from this is Opus One, Tom Dorsey version, 1943, the Glen Orchestra. This has been such a blast, man. We should do this more often. And I love, you know, like, I used to be so obsessed with owning MP3s. You know, that was like, once it got either too expensive to buy a CD, you know, then I would just download albums. And I know, you know, it's piracy and everything, but I mean, you know, when you live in Mexico and everything is super expensive because everything is imported or it doesn't exist, that's when I started to, like, you know, collect MP3s and download. And so back in the day, this would have been like, oh, you know, one of my, you know, most valuable possessions, to have this, you know, to have this folder full of this music. And I really appreciate it. And I have it here, and I'll keep it on here, and I'll play it, you know, trust me, I'll play this more than once, you know. So this is so good. Okay, Opus One, here we go. And where are we? There we are. Wow. The drumming, the harmonies, the improv is so good, you know. What a different music, you know. In only 80 years, it's all gone down the drain. It's so sad. I hope it comes back, you know. And I mean, if you look at people, you know, like Matteo Mancuso, he's ripping it up. Check him out. I think he's one of the most incredible guitar players right now. He's only 27 years old, and he's literally like leaving players like Aldi Meola, you know, Steve Vai and people like that literally like in the dust. They're like, what the heck, where did you come from, you know? Like he's an Italian he's from Palermo, I think, Sicily, and he literally is like teaching them how to play guitar, you know. Like he's on the level, you know, like Guthrie Goodman, Alan Holdsworth, you know, like and he only plays like with his fingers. He's like amazing. He pretty much says, yeah, well, you know, that's kind of like my weakness. I don't know how to use a pick, you know, I can't play it. But trust me, this guy is on a different level. It like literally, like Steve Vai said, it would take me like decades to get to his level where I am right now. And that's coming from Steve Vai, and he's like, you know, a master of guitar playing. But yeah, so that's why I have hope, you know, because I mean, if you look at the charts, there's nothing really like interesting on there. You know, there's some good stuff. I'm not saying that music is completely ruined, but pretty much the problem is that what people like, the consumer right now, what they buy is very poor in when it comes to, you know, harmony and stuff like that. You know, the melodies are very simple. It's usually one chord or two, you know, or disguised by only bass that's on a loop, you know. And that's what's right now. And it's just, I guess it's the decade, you know, maybe in the, you know, 20 in the 30s, you know, it comes back like full throttle, you know, like we go back to the jazz era. There's some really great guitar players who are like literally half my age, you know, um, and they're just like, you know, incredible. So, you know, I'm not giving up. You know, I sometimes, you know, I get very frustrated with, you know, things that are happening right now, and with the music, you know, and with television and film. But hey, you know, there's some really great movies. We just saw, oh my God, this is a classic. We went to the movies and we saw My Fair Lady. Oh my God, what a great movie. I mean, what a masterpiece. Very different. I mean, you know, like stuff in that movie wouldn't fly today, you know. Everybody would be offended, you know. But back in the day, people was still kind of like, they had that sense of humor. I love all the rhymes, all the lyrics in that movie. All the musical parts are so well written, you know. And yes, and it's like, you know, when you compare it to nowadays, everybody would be, you know, raising their arms on Twitter and Facebook, like, oh, this is so like sexist, you know. But but those were the times, you know, like it was that way, you know. And I think the movie was filmed in 1964, but it is in the 20s, you know, 1920. So obviously in that time, you know, things were very different. So, but I love that depiction of, you know, in the movie, they were not so careful, you know. And today in a movie, it's all about, you know, oh, we have to be very, very careful, and we can't do say this and we can't say that, and this is going to be like, oh, people are going to write about this on Twitter. And it's like, you know, that's just what kind of like for me, that is just so lame, you know. So, you know, I do get it, you know, but it's just like it's they're overdoing it a little bit, you know, with the everybody's so outraged, you know, like so. But yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you so much, BMAC. What a great memory, you know, and dedication to your parents, to remember them by with music like this must be so wonderful. Every time you put on music on, you know, that sounds like this, you can think of your parents. That's just a gift, you know. And that's a gift that I have too, you know. Every time I listen to Mozart, or when I watch the movie Amadeus, or I listen to Bach or Beethoven, or, you know, or Vivaldi, like my mom is just like sitting right next to me. And today I had a great phone call with her, and she's in very good spirit, and we finally got, you know, she finally figured it out how to, you know, download WhatsApp, you know, that is like Messenger, you know, like Skype. And we had this wonderful conversation. I sent her some pictures, and, you know, of, she hadn't seen our wedding pictures. So she was super excited. I spent like 2 hours talking to my mom. So, you know, it's such a precious thing to have, you know, parents, because once they're gone, we'll miss them forever, you know. And this is why this is such a beautiful thing. Thank you so much, you know, BMAC, for doing this. And I'm sure there were wonderful people, and they created, you know, they made a wonderful son. And thank you for being such a good friend, and, you know, for opening up. You know, BMAC sometimes sends me, you know, like pictures of his bass collection, and it's just like nice to have friends, you know, like this. So I'm really like humbled. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. And I hope everybody enjoyed. Let me know if you knew these tunes. Were they new to you? Do they also remind you of when you were a child? You know, that is so crazy, you know, that you were running around with, you know, like mobile or portable, you know, LP players. That's insane. I love it. So let me know what you think. comment below. Let me know. And if you like this video, you know, subscribe to the channel. It does help out tremendously. And yes, give it a like, you know, if you want. Do whatever. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.